Well, we are mostly back. The cam is not. After a system outage, a very ill-timed system outage here at VFN headquarters, but we are back up and running here on game night. We have a lot to get caught up on. We've never had to do this before. We got all the way to week 9 before we had a serious snafu. Are we going to get the cam back for the rest of the evening? Yes, it's back. Okay, excellent. At least there's hope in the world. All right, let's go to the red zone where Rob Crone is getting sacked. KC Reed with the sack. 2-minute warning in Wichita. We got a lot to catch up on. El Paso has taken a 14-0 lead over Minnesota. Elliott Pope Jr. had a 5-yard rushing touchdown there. That game is almost to the end of the half, but the Desperados have been dominating the Minnesota Chippers so far. Miami is up 14-6 on Wichita. Big run from Bullet Boletsky as that pass is nearly intercepted in the back of the end zone. Rob Crone, 8 of 12 for 125 yards. And in the New York-Washington game, a basically 100-yard pick six for Washington has gotten them back in this game. 14-13. The Lightning lead the Knights by 1 point. Jupiter Jennings with that carry. We do believe that we have all of the updated and relevant Hugo numbers, as that is a 37-yard field goal for Miami. That is good. So a couple more to add to the board. I'm just going to do this one time here, but 1, 2, 3, followed by 7, 30, 41, 45, 5, 14, 50 plus, 6, 26, 39, 13, 37, and 17. Miami's now out of the red zone. Let's take our audio to New York. 2:28 to go in the first half. New York leads Washington 14-13. And Brando Black will throw too far out of the end zone. So 16 called numbers. And that is what we're looking at right now here on UFL Game Night. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties. Just kind of a fluke. Lost power here at the studio for just a second. We've got all of our individual games running sort of on a different setup here. 19-yard touchdown for New York, you bet. And the Lightning take a 20-13 advantage. And points continue for New York. That's Robert Henson Jr. with the catch. Robert Henson this season has 23 grabs for 120 yards coming in, but that is his first receiving touchdown. And New York bounces back in a big way, getting the score. 10 plays, 71-yard drive. And it's 21-13 Lightning on top of the Knights. Wichita has a 3rd down and 7. They are trailing as Doug Fult's going to take a sack. They are trailing 17-6. Oh, that pass is picked off. Miami's got the football down about the 25-yard line. Pass was intercepted by one of the defensive backs and brought into scoring position. That's just a low throw off target and a major turnover. Man, and Wichita, number 2 in the league in scoring offense. And Miami's defense is putting it to them today. Big time.
Here we go. 60 out.
So now Miami's got the football on the Wichita 24. And Rob Crone is going for a lot of it right away, down to the 12-yard line. 1:28 to go in the first half. Miami has plenty of time. Let's check in on Washington's run game. Eric Kilgore just 12 yards on his first 8 carries. So the Knights run game not necessarily doing much better here. Dante Doom with that last tackle. They've reached the 2-minute warning in New York. Rob Crone is into the red zone, is going to take off and run and slide just ahead of the first down. That's his second carry for 17 yards, second down and 1. Coming up for Miami, they are knocking on the door. TJ Stevens down 8. Washington basically trailing this whole first half. That's a quick throw out to Tiberius Bovine Jr., and it is enough to pick up a first down. So first and goal for Miami. They will call a timeout with 43 seconds left and regroup. El Paso has the football back. That game has entered the third quarter in Minnesota. The Desperados leading Minnesota 14-0. All right, let's see. Well, first and goal at the 1, and then I'll try to catch up on all the chatter.
Ready. 8, read.
All day, just like that.
Snap.
Rob Crone going to throw for it, and it is knocked out of the hands of the intended receiver at the last moment. So second and goal at the 1 coming up for Miami, 40 seconds remaining.
Go now. 15, line.
Robert Crone's in the chat, and both of the Crones playing well here in the first half. They'll hand it off to Boletsky straight away. He can't get there. Timeout Miami. It's third and goal at the 1-yard line. 36 seconds left. That's Harper Dew with the tackle, his fourth. El Paso trying to pull the upset. Third down and 8 for TJ Stevens in the no huddle. Washington down 8, and that deep throw is almost intercepted by New York, but they're going to get the stop. And Boletsky's driven backwards for a loss of 2, or a loss of 1 rather. Now it's fourth and goal for Miami as Wichita has come up with a goal line stand. PJ Slaughter going deep on third down and 12. Jordan Herrera caught at the Minnesota 20-yard line. 252 yards on the day for El Paso's offense. Jordan Herrera with probably the biggest play of his career. Fourth down and goal. Boletsky is stopped. Wichita holds on the goal line. And Washington pins New York inside the 10. What a stop for the Flyers defense, as Miami tried to go up by 3 scores just before the half and shut the door on Wichita. No dice, the Flyers get the stop. Now let's go to Minnesota, where Elliott Pope Jr. has El Paso in the red zone down to the 16-yard line. They're up big on Minnesota right now, 14-0. Brando Black dropping a throw. Black almost took a safety, dropped to the 2-yard line with 50 seconds left. Booker with the takedown for Washington. Now Pope Jr. sacked out of the red zone by Minnesota. That's Boyd's first sack of the day. Will bring up a third down and 11. Wichita just running out the first half. They'll try again in the second half. Chris Delro is slammed in the backfield by Rip Cuby. And that is the end of the first 2 quarters in Wichita. Miami 17 and Wichita 6. 25 seconds to go in the first half in New York. Lightning up 21-13. They are also just trying to play out the stretch here in the first half and avoid taking a safety. But now Washington is going to call a timeout. This pass is intercepted as Herrera went for, oh no, that's actually Brunson of El Paso, but that is Anderson's second interception of the day for Minnesota in the end zone, keeping the Chippers alive in this one. Look at Anderson with the blanket coverage. That is an unbelievable play. And Robert Henson is in the end zone for a safety. So 15 comes off the board. How about Washington? They call the timeout. Instead of letting the first half just fade away, Washington calls a timeout. New York hands it off to Henson. He's dropped in the end zone, and the Knights get 2 points just before the break. Heads up coaching, situational awareness there by Washington. And now Minnesota off the interception takes over on their own 20, but an incompletion from Doug Falk starts the drive. Wow, a lot of feverish action here just as we're getting things going again, as Doug Falk will fire over the middle to Tyler Falk across the 40-yard line. A pickup of 21 yards. Doug Falk is 8 of 11 for 106 now. And Washington now has 4 seconds left to do something with it before the break. Stevens gonna air it out long. It is intercepted. That is Clator again. So Clator with 2 picks and Anderson for Minnesota with 2 picks in the first half. And that's how a wild first half will end in New York. Washington gets 7 points from their defense, actually 9 points from their defense, and 2 field goals from their offense, just 12 rushing yards, but hanging in there with New York 21-15 at the break. Meanwhile, Dalton Brown's got Minnesota across the 50-yard line to the El Paso 44 as the Chippers are trying to get things going. 3rd down and 10 coming up for Miami as Wichita tries to get off the field. Not the ideal first half for the Flyers. As Rob Crone will check it down to Beletsky. He breaks a tackle, but Wichita sending some pressure, making Crone get rid of the ball quickly. And they force a 4th down. Harper Dew with a takedown, and that pass is caught by Tyler Falk down to the 26-yard line. Got to get another look at that in the upper left-hand corner. Look at this catch from Falk in the rain, holding on to that, and is absolutely sandwiched mid-air and still comes down with it. Impressive catch. Minnesota in need of some points as Miami has to punt it away. Let's go to Minnesota. This is their probably best drive of the day. 5:55 to go in the 3rd quarter. They're gonna flip it out to Rowland after he went in motion, got a yard. 10 of 13 is Falk. 2nd and 9 coming up for Minnesota. And we are starting the second half in New York. All right, I think finally we have an opportunity here to catch up on the chat. Jesse says that aliens nearly took me.
Let's go now. 70.
Got all the numbers posted.
Hey, we're pretty quiet, D. We're pretty quiet.
2nd down and 9 for Doug Falk. Hit as he threw. Back of the end zone. Almost caught, but the receiver was out of bounds off the deflection.
Offense.
Okay, break.
Hey, 50. 50's the mic. 50's the mic.
Has 9 hits, says DJ. Nope, 9 is not off the board. It's going to be 3rd down for New York. It's 3rd down for Minnesota. Doug Falk can't take that sack down to the 33-yard line.
They can't stop us, baby.
That may have put Minnesota out of field goal range. That's the 4th sack for El Paso. Minnesota may be a blessing in disguise if they take another loss so they can continue to figure out that offensive line up front for Falk. We'll see what Minnesota decides to do. That's a tough 50-yard field goal in the rain. 3rd down and 12 for New York, up 6. Deep shot, Brando Black wide open. Robert Henson. Black is 18 of 24 for 212 yards. And New York's up to 253 yards. This is going to be a 50-yard field goal for Minnesota. And it is blocked by El Paso. Still no points on the board for Minnesota. A sack and then a blocked field goal. El Paso is playing some excellent football in Minnesota today, looking for their 2nd win of the season, their first coming against Houston. And Miami's going to get great starting field position in Wichita territory. Speaking of Houston, Houston and Milwaukee is your primetime game of our next broadcast on Friday. Can't wait to see the Milwaukee Stags in action in primetime, I believe for the first time this season. And also coming up later tonight, it is the Phoenix Skyhawks' first game in primetime. They host the Los Angeles Aztecs, a battle of 2 of the top teams in the Great West Conference. That comes your way after we are done here on Game Night. Eric Vincent and Chris Curtis on the call of that contest. Let's go to New York, where a delayed handoff to Robert Henson will make this a 3rd and long. 14 yards on just 7 carries. John Gary in the backfield. That's his 3rd of the day. Rob Crone's pass is incomplete. Crone just 12 of 20 for 157 yards. Wichita doing a pretty good job on him. In terms of the leader in the league in completion percentage, that's Cameron Duty coming into the night. But Rob Crone is second, 73.9%. So good job by Wichita's defense. Pope Jr. is going to slide, and Bullet Boletsky's got a 1st down and more. Pope Jr. is ruled short of the 1st down, so a crucial 4th and 1 coming up for El Paso. Boletsky's got Miami back in the red zone with another sick run. As he makes a man miss, El Paso elects to punt, and they shank it out of bounds. So Minnesota will start with it at the 24-yard line with 2:43 to go in the 3rd quarter. Robert Henson making mention of the run game in the chat. Washington, we mentioned it earlier, has the worst yards per carry in the league at 3.0. Well, New York is 2nd worst at 3.5. So not expected to see a ton of rushing yards in that one. But Brando Black has New York back into the red zone to the 7-yard line. False start for Miami will nearly put them out. It'll be 2nd and 13 coming up. Handoff, Dalton Brown, nice run. 42 yards on 7 carries for Brown. Doing well for Minnesota's rushing attack. Boletsky's up to 120 yards on 16 carries in this ball game. But a big 3rd down and 12 coming up for Miami in the red zone. That's where New York is. Minnesota's trying to get that goose egg off the board. Rob Crone just gets rid of it. Buck Wild makes a man miss. Did he get the 1st? He did not. 4th and inches. Remember, Miami had a chance at a field goal at the end of the 1st half and failed on the 4th down and goal conversion. New York is now inside the 5. 3rd down and 8 coming up for Minnesota. What will Miami do here on 4th and inches after Buck Wild's 5th catch? Second and goal at the 4, and it is going to be a field goal for Miami of 21 yards. Handoff, Jupiter Jennings down to the 1-yard line. He almost rolled over into the end zone, and Doug Falk wildly overthrows his intended receiver on 3rd down and 8. 21-yard kick is good for Miami, and they now lead 20-6 over Wichita. This is 3rd and goal from the 1. The handoff to Robert Henson, who has his 2nd touchdown of the night. And New York takes a 12-point advantage. Henson, 1 rushing, 1 receiving touchdown in the ball game against the Knights. New York trying to sweep the Knights tonight. But check that. That is the first time that New York has played Washington, and they will go for 2 with 7:05 to go in the 3rd quarter. 2-point try. Brando Black is sacked. No good. So it's 27-15. New York will have to settle for a 12-point advantage over the Knights. Washington's offense has not scored a rushing touchdown, 2 field goals, a defensive touchdown, and a safety on the board so far today. New York has not punted in this game. And BK Solberg back to work for the Flyers, and his pass is very off the mark. 7 of 14 for 78 yards and a pick for BK Solberg. Wichita, man, they just are struggling to get things going. Who would have thought? 4-0 to start the season and 0-3 since, trying to avoid that 0-4, and that route takes the receiver out of bounds for a loss of 4 yards. Ugliness there. B.J. Slaughter bouncing off of tacklers all over the place in Minnesota. Let's see, it's 3rd down and 14, end of the 3rd quarter in Minnesota, 14-0 there. B.K. Solberg going to air it out long, 3rd and 14, and he, just like Doug Falk, wildly overthrows his intended receiver. Miami has Solberg rattled in the backfield. And speaking of being rattled in the backfield, Eric Kilgore with another loss. Things have not worked out the way they wanted to in Washington today, as New York's stellar defense continues their reign of terror. New York under this 4-game losing streak. Remember, the Lightning started 1-3 as McCreary drags Minnesota defenders for a 1st down. Since New York's revolution on defense, they have allowed 13, 10, 10, and 6 points. The 15 they've allowed to Washington today is the most since they reinvented themselves. There goes Beletsky, and he's got one man to beat, and he's gone. 71-yard touchdown. And Miami takes a 26-6 advantage. Beletsky all over the Flyers, and Miami has turned probably our most promising matchup on paper into a 3-score rout at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. The extra point is good, 27 and 50 plus. We're already off the board. That is a 71-yard scamper for Beletsky. Over 200 rushing yards on the day for Miami. And they are all over the Flyers. The Flyers have to get going quickly. 5:41 to go in the 3rd. 3rd down and 4 for Elliott Pope Jr. setting up a screen, and it works to perfection. 1st down and more. Oh, man. Had an opportunity, did McCreary, to get into the end zone. 316 yards for the Desperados, and they have been very balanced. McCreary's 3rd catch for 40 yards, but he had a ton of open room here and just lost his place on the sideline. That could have been a death nail for Minnesota. Meanwhile, Washington has to punt here on 4th and 7, so we've got 3 teams in good command right now here on UFL Game Night. Week 9 has been uncharacteristically in favor of wins by more than a score, as El Paso's into the red zone and a touchdown. From 25 yards out, that's Brunson with the score. El Paso pouring it on in the rain in Minnesota. There goes Jupiter Jennings. All the way down the sideline, 72 yards on 10 carries. One of the best days for Jupiter this season. 329 yards of offense for New York. 2nd and inches, Solberg again airmails an intended receiver. Now it's 3rd and inches. 21-0 El Paso. Clobbering the Chippers, who have taken a step back here tonight. And that, combined with this weather, it has been a dreary evening for the Chippers fans. Chris Delrow on 3rd and inches, and he lost 2. This defensive front for Miami is lethal.
Set. 18 Gator.
Right there, 56. Ready?
We've got a 2nd down 11 for New York, and they're going to swing that out. It's a fumble. Are you kidding me? Washington picks up a fumble. That's Alleman on a backwards pass. Unbelievable. What a hit. That was Jay Hayden with the hit, and honestly, Jalen Saunders saves the touchdown here. Washington's defense, even though they've allowed a ton of yards, making monstrous plays and keeping their team alive in this ball game. A pick six, a safety, and now a fumble recovery for the Knights, who trail by 12 with 4:48 to go in the third. No huddle for Minnesota already in the fourth quarter. Stevens is sacked but dragged down by his face mask. Another critical mistake for New York, and a big run there from Doug Falk, for the receiver Antonio Ross, after Falk delivered a good ball over the middle. First down for Minnesota across the 50. They're trying to get back into this thing. And Wichita's just trying to stop Boletsky. Hand off, Eric Kilgore finally with some room. 25 yards on 10 carries, but easily the best run of the day for Eric Kilgore, and quite frankly, the best run of the last few weeks for the Washington ground game. Boletsky falling forward. That's Tyler Falk, first down for Minnesota at the El Paso 28-yard line. 3rd and 1 coming up for Miami. This feels like the biggest play of the game in Wichita. They got to get a stop. Rob Crone got it, first down. That is Bovine Jr. over the middle. Minnesota is in the red zone. Washington is in the red zone as Kilgore gets the carry. 2nd and 9 coming up for the Knights. Doug Falk's pass goes out of bounds. 2nd down and 9 at the 16-yard line. Hand off to Kilgore up the middle to the 9 for Washington. DJ was asking if 9 had hit. This would be your opportunity right here. 1st and 10 for Miami across the timeline, and that is a first down for Dalton Brown and the Chippers. 8:33 to go in the red zone. This is Kilgore, 3rd down and 2, and he didn't get it. 4th and 1 coming up for Washington. Decision time. Doug Falk on a little floater, and it's dropped, although it wouldn't have been for much. 2nd and 10 Minnesota. Another big-time drive for Miami. Now it's 3rd down and 2, just outside of field goal range, or they might even be in it. And Washington's going for it on 4th and 1. 4th and 1 at the New York 8-yard line. They're going to play fake. Kilgore picks up the block, and Washington scores the touchdown. What a play by Kilgore. That's an 8-yard score, and Eric Kilgore makes the play for the Knights. Pass caught by unclaimed wide receiver 1, Isaiah Moody, who continues to move up the leaderboards. That's touchdown number 4 for him. That now leads the team. The extra point is good. Miami misses the field goal. So now it's 27-22. In New York, this is a 4th and 6, and Minnesota turns the ball over. Looking for Donnie Allegheny over the middle, and with 7:52 to go, Minnesota could be shut out at home. It has been a tough stretch for them. All right, after the missed field goal, Wichita now has a golden opportunity with 1:14 to go in the third, but they cannot find any room to run against this Miami front today. Chris Delro held to just 12 yards on 13 carries, and there is Rip Cuby again. No, 9 is not a number. They were at the 9, but they got 1 yard, got to the 8, and then they scored. So 8 was your number there.
Come on, set, 8, read.
Mike, number 53, Mike 53.
Up to 24 called numbers here on game night. 2nd down and 11 for Wichita. Nothing has been working offensively for them, so they'll try Delro on a read option. He's got a first down to the Miami 45-yard line. New York has the football back, up 27-22. Gordon picks up 5. Brando Black, 22 of 28. He's been pretty excellent. Had 1 interception right at the goal line, however, and that has helped Washington stay in the game. That last touchdown throw to Moody was their first offensive touchdown of the day. And that is your lone one-score game right now. Hand off to Jupiter Jennings. He's got a first down and 80 rushing yards on the day. For El Paso, a win would take them to 2-6. A loss would drop the Chippers to 2-7. Slaughter takes a vicious hit. 4th and 11 for El Paso. They're going to have to punt this football away. Brando Black on a first down and 10. Has McGee, who got out of 2. And McGee nearly got a first down for the Lightning. Major 3rd down and 4 coming up for Wichita. They got to have it. 27-6. We're in the 4th quarter. And Wichita's in the no huddle. Solberg got the first down. Are they going to give him forward progress? Yes. That is Rylan Witten, just his 3rd catch for 16 yards today. Wichita no huddle now, down 3 scores with 11:20 to go. Over the middle. Nice catch there from Timothy Shea. Shout outs to everybody playing defense today. In El Paso, Alan Wood. Washington's John Gary and Jay Hayden. New York's Dante Doom III, Rose Black, St. Louis, and Kane Vasquez. Wichita's Casey Reed and Harper Dew. And Miami's Rip Cuby, Dexter Murdoch, Robert Crone, Ron Haynes, and Grant Hardaway. Don't forget John Smith at kicker. Poor John missed a 51-yarder earlier today. Minnesota still in contention here, but they're running out of time. Only 5.5 left. Brando Black continues to lead New York's offense down the field on 3rd down and 4. That's another first down for Wichita down to the Miami 21-yard line. R.J. Gilmer with his 4th grab, and Ron Haynes makes his 5th tackle. No huddle for Solberg down to the 16-yard line. Wichita's in the red zone. Jupiter Jennings makes it 3rd down and 1 for New York. 11:10 to go in the 4th quarter at the Washington 27. BK Solberg into the end zone. Dropped. Knocked out of the hands of the intended receiver. That was a moment for the Flyers.
Set, ready, 10-2 start.
Still no huddle for Minnesota, but it's 3rd down and 24. Now it's 4th and 24. Solberg had a 3rd down and 5, and again the receiver could not hold on in tight coverage. That was Adkins, and now it's 4th and 5 for Wichita, and I think they got to go for it. Meanwhile, Washington gets the stop, and New York's going to elect to kick a 44-yard field goal to make it 30-22, and that kick is up and good.
Set, 18, Gator.
It is a 4th down for Wichita. 4th and 5 over the middle, incomplete. The Miami defense suffocating today. And Minnesota once again tries to get some points on the board, and the pass is picked off in the end zone. So after Washington gets the stop, 10:45 to go, it's 30-22 Lightning over the Knights. And 2 teams with 3-score leads have the football. Washington down 8. That is your crutch point. Handoff, P.J. Slaughter got a lot of space to the 34-yard line. First down, Desperado, check that, that's McCreary. 6 carries for 44 yards. He's had a bounce-back game.
Ready, break.
Here we go. Tight end to the right, boy. Tight end to the right. Move it, go.
P.J. Stevens starts the drive for Washington, looking for a deep shot down the field. It's a little underthrown, and the receiver still almost caught it on the ground. There goes P.J. Slaughter off to the races. This is from 66 yards away. What a day for El Paso. Boy, do the Desperados need this one. 27-0 over Minnesota. Oh, man, that Washington receiver almost caught that pass on the ground, and a big 3rd down and 10 for the Knights coming up after an explosive run from El Paso puts that game firmly in our rearview mirror. 3rd down and 10 for Washington, down 8. 10:25 to go. Stevens will take the check down, nothing there. And Washington's going to have to punt the football away. 28-0. El Paso up on Minnesota.
Come on, fellas.
Ready? 18 Gator.
I'm scared.
5.
That's where you belong.
Set, ready? 30 base.
55. Here we go, here we go.
Set,
Let's go, boys. Let's go.
We lost our microphone. Oh, my goodness. What just happened in the Wichita game? It looks like Ron Haynes caught an interception
70.
off a crazy deflection. We lost our mic. I'm terribly sorry. 9 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. New York's got the football back, 30-22. We're doing our best here on Game Night tonight. The world seems to be against us this evening, as Doug Falk's going to take off and run. He's got Minnesota into the red zone, down to the about the 7-yard line. Way too little too late with 3 minutes to go. Meanwhile, oh, it's intercepted by Washington. Second pick for Alleman. Hold everything. How did, oh man, he jumped right in front of McGee to take it away. Washington with another critical turnover forced again. It's going to be 3rd down and goal for Minnesota coming up. They might just want to wipe the goose egg off the board. That is the 3rd Lightning turnover of the day. Deep shot. Buck Wild is in the red zone, and Miami is trying to pile on with 7:05 to go in the quarter. Into the end zone, 3rd and goal. Minnesota can't get anything there. 4th and goal time. Do they want to try to get a touchdown or just make sure they're not shut out? Allegheny was out of the back of the end zone. He's had a quiet day. Deep shot. Washington had an open receiver, but now it's 3rd down and 3. And Minnesota is going to take the field goal. This is from 27 yards away. And Miami's got a 10-yard touchdown to Buck Wild. Washington on 3rd down and 3 as a first down with 8 minutes to go, trailing by 8 against the New York Lightning. That is our lone one-score game. Miami and El Paso are taking their opponents to the woodshed on the road. And this is now 34-6. Surely we've got a bingo out there somewhere. This is the 28th called number of the night. Onside kick is recovered by Minnesota. And Washington is in the red zone. Once again, off of a New York turnover, hanging around in this one. 7:20 to go in the fourth. St. Louis on the tackle, his third. 2nd down and 1 at the New York 17-yard line with 7 minutes to go. And Stevens has a 17-yard touchdown. Washington is down 2. The Knights just will not go away. They have not led in this game. Off the onside kick recovery, Doug Falk took a sack. Now it's 3rd down and 17. Oh, I may have missed something. Killjoy calling for card 52. And that is a 2-point conversion for Washington to make it 30-30 on a TJ Stevens keeper. What a drive for Washington. 5 plays, 53 yards. Allen Wood with the deflection on Tyler Falk. Excellent work there out of the cornerback. Wow, we are all square at 30 in New York. Guard 52. Working on it here, folks. That is a vertical bingo. You have it, Dexter Murdoch. New York has a first down. Look at those numbers. 28-33. Or 37 for 333 yards. 3 touchdowns, but the 2 interceptions and the 3 total turnovers for New York. That's Jay Hayden's 4th tackle. 30-30 in New York. In their first meeting against Washington, this is Jupiter Jennings picking up 7. 90 yards on 13 carries. BK Solberg taking a shot. Into the end zone, it is incomplete. And I'm just so sorry that I missed that Ron Haynes double tip deflection interception. That was that looked wild. Miami's making all the right plays in that matchup with Wichita. Man, the Flyers have got to find a way to get back in this. They are slipping down the Eastern Conference standings, and after tonight would be tied with Charlotte for the final playoff spot in the East. Robert Henson Jr., 9 carries, 20 yards and a touchdown today, as Wichita just punts it back to Miami. They're ready to go home. Minnesota and El Paso can go home. That game is a final. El Paso with an impressive 28-3 victory. They get their 2nd win of the season and go to 2-6. They have won 2 out of their last 3, and Jupiter Jennings has a 46-yard score. Touchdown, New York. Jupiter Jennings shaking off of tackles. That's his 2nd longest run of the season. His previous long was 63, but it comes in a big-time spot for the Lightning. Jordan Herrera might be a first-time bingo winner, needs a vertical and got it. Jordan Herrera, congrats on the win. Congrats on the big day on the field. El Paso dominates Minnesota and wins 28-3 tonight, but New York with 480 yards of offense tonight, now up 37-30. .480 total yards is the 11th most in the league this season in any game. Los Angeles had the most with 544 against Cincinnati. 3:16 to go in Wichita. The Pirates just running Boletsky down Wichita's throat. Casey Reed on the tackle, but that's 252 yards for Bullet Boletsky, and that may be a new UFL record. Washington on the return up to the 34-yard line. They have 4:43 to try to go down and tie the football game. We're checking on that Boletsky record. The record was 246 by Payne Price. Boletsky is close to that. And Washington's got a first down to the 50. 14-24, Boletsky 248, although is dropped for a loss. He's 2 yards ahead of that Payne Price record currently. TJ Stevens on a first down and 10 for Washington has another open receiver, first down to the 33. 15-25 for 205 yards. I believe Vincent called a Hugo earlier, and he's got it on card 1. So that's our third of the night. But we are under 5 minutes in all the games, so Hugo is closed here for game night. Deep shot, Washington, and it's out of the back of the end zone. But if I missed a Hugo card from any of the numbers called, please let me know again in the chat, because we were scrambling all night, feels like. Had some technical difficulties, some power outages, and we've got a really good one in New York right now. Third down and 10. That pass is incomplete. 3:52 left. Washington has all kinds of time at the New York 33-yard line. Miami's got a third down and 14. Will they hand it off to Boletsky one more time to ensure his record-setting day? They do, but he's dropped in the backfield. He lost one, and now it's fourth down for Washington. Casey Reed with a TFL, but Boletsky is still 1 yard ahead of Payne Price despite back-to-back losses. Now it's 4th and 10 coming up for Washington. Washington this season is 2 of 5 on 4. Now they're going to take the points. This is a 55-yard field goal for Miami, and it's good. John Smith from 55. This is from 50 for Washington. That is good. Back-to-back 50-plus yard field goals. Miami tacks on 3, and Washington tacks on 3 and lives to fight another day. 37-33, and now it's up to New York's offense, which has only stopped themselves tonight with 3 turnovers, no punts. They lead by 4 with 3:43 remaining. So I believe we had 3 Hugos tonight. I think I got everybody. It was card 1, 51, and 52. You'll clear your cards for UFL Primetime coming up next, and that's with Eric Vincent and Chris Curtis on the call. Los Angeles at Phoenix. Phoenix's first primetime opportunity of the season, despite their outstanding record. They've been kind of hidden in the shadows. They've played Montana, Austin, El Paso, Portland in the last 4 weeks of the season, and all 4 of those teams have a losing record up to this point, except Portland, who's 4-4. Jupiter Jennings on the carry, can't get much. He has 137 yards on 16 carries, but it's 2nd down and 9 as Washington looks for a stop.
Ready up, fight.
56, Mike, 56. Get the ball.
Phoenix is 5-2, LA is 5-3 in that primetime game coming up. That pass for New York is incomplete. Now it's 3rd down and 9. Can Washington's defense finally come up with a stop?
Ready, set.
55 to Mike. Check, 55 to Mike. Let's go.
5.
Brando Black, 3rd and 9. Down the field, caught open, 1st down. They lost the ball. Fumble. Washington has picked it up.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Alleman with 2 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries all in the same game. He has been the hero Washington has needed all day long. Allian with the strip, their excellent free safety. 4th turnover for New York, 2 picks and 2 fumbles, and Washington has taken over.
Here we go, set. 30 base.
Unbelievable, 2:57 to go in the 4th. TJ Stevens, 1st down to the 28-yard line. Washington 3-5. They have lost 2 straight, 30-3 and 33-18. But earlier this season, they came back against Salt Lake in the 4th quarter, 30-27. That was their first win, and that is still Salt Lake's only loss. Dorsey with that last catch. Washington's inconsistency has put them at 3-5, but they are rumbling and rolling here in the 4th quarter. Stevens from his 28, caught into the red zone down to the 17-yard line. 1st down, Knights. They have forced 4 turnovers, scored 1 defensive touchdown, have a safety, and have the football right now down 4. Miami gets the win over Wichita, and it was not close, 37-6. The Flyers got to look in the mirror. They've lost 4 in a row. Stevens, 1st and 10 of the 17. He is sacked. Tried to get rid of it for an incompletion, but he is ruled down. Winters with the takedown. New York's 4th sack of the day.
Go, Rocket, come on.
No huddle for Washington, down 4. 2nd down and 17. Fake it to Kilgore. Deep shot in the end zone. Touchdown, Washington! The unclaimed tight end, Brian Gilliard, left open on a post, and Washington takes the first lead of the day. TJ Stevens has 3 passing touchdowns in the 2nd half. And the extra point will give Washington a 1-point lead. 37-6 your final in Wichita in one of the biggest blowouts of the season. And that big-time matchup of 2 great East teams did not live up to the hype. And maybe the UFL subscribers chose correct in putting LA and Phoenix over Miami and Wichita in primetime tonight. Maybe they should have put Washington and New York in prime time this evening. 1:37 left, and all 3 timeouts for New York. Think about Washington's decision-making in this game. They called a timeout on 3rd and long for New York so that they could not run out the clock at the end of the 1st half. That resulted in a safety. They chose to kick the field goal, not go 4th down 7, to give themselves an opportunity, and then on 3rd down, force a fumble, and then get another touchdown. Look at Brando Black's 30 for 40, 358 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. 1:37 to play as game night wraps up. It's been a tumultuous game night, a topsy-turvy one to say the least, but we're still here and we're still having fun. McGee on the catch for New York. 1st down to the Knight 37-yard line. Black throwing, caught past the 50 to the 48, first down. That is Jabari Tafri with his fourth catch for 44 yards.
Hurry, hurry.
56 to Mike.
1:12 left in the fourth. Black again, firing, caught, first down, broken tackle in the field goal range down to the 25-yard line.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
550 total yards for New York. Rolls first catch of the day. And we talked about that game high earlier in offensive yards. LA was 544. And if you remember, they actually lost to Cincinnati. They were up 19-0 in that game, gave up 22 straight points. New York now has the new UFL record for total offensive yards in a game, and they currently trail by 3, but they are in field goal range to tie. Brando Black, not anymore. Sacked back at the 33, 1 minute to go.
That's how we do it.
53 seconds left. New York still with some time. They'll go no huddle.
Ball.
Hustle up, D. Watch the pass.
Deep grip, deep grip.
Brando Black to pass again. Fires and way overshot an intended receiver. That one got away from him. 33 of 44. 41 seconds left for New York.
Come on, set. 60 out.
Knights
ball.
by 3. This is the 70th offensive play of the day for the Lightning.
Let's go.
38 seconds. Black cannot take a sack. Black checks it down to Robert Henson to the 23-yard line, and it's fourth down now and 8. So New York's going to have to go for the 40-yard field goal to tie the game. Washington will not call any timeouts because New York cannot win the game with a made kick. And this would make it 40-40 and send us into overtime, hold everything. Eric Vincent and Chris Curtis, what a wild game. Washington played a shootout earlier this season. They lost it to Portland 56-38. Here's the 40-yard field goal for New York to tie the game. Down to 13 seconds left, and that kick is blocked by Washington and picked up. It is the Knights' game to lose with 8 seconds left. Another dramatic play by Washington. You've got to be kidding me. And that is Trey Alleman with the blocked field goal. By my count, he has 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, and a blocked field goal. He's unclaimed. It might be the best game by a defender in UFL history. New York pulls TJ Stevens down by the face mask as they're trying to get the football away from him. What an unbelievable performance by Trey Alleman and the Washington Knights to come back in this ball game. We got to check, before we get off the air, we got to check Trey Alleman's final stat line.
All day, dog.
If I am understanding it correctly, it may be the greatest stat line for a defender in league history, and Eric Kilgore gets one of his best runs of the day. He ends up with 45 yards on 14 carries. Let's count it up. New York did not punt in this game. Washington's defense forced a blocked punt. Defense and special teams forced a blocked field goal, a safety, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. Oh, it's Booker. Booker had the 2 interceptions, but Alleman had the 2 fumble recoveries and the blocked field goal. Washington scores 18 points in the fourth quarter. They did not have an offensive touchdown in the first half. And they win an unbelievable game, 40-37 for New York. They fall to 5-4, and it is their first loss since March 27th, snapping a 4-game win streak. They get 552 yards of offense. That is a UFL record. And we cue the outro. Are you kidding me? Between Alleman and Booker, Washington does the impossible. Unbelievable as the final stats scroll across your screen. Brando Black with 418 in a loss. Jupiter Jennings 137 yards and a touchdown in a loss. Robert Henson had 2 touchdowns. Saunders at 135 yards and a touchdown in a loss. New York is going to be thinking about this one for a long time. Washington improves to 4-5. Your final scores tonight on Game Night. We had a couple snoozers as El Paso rolls over Minnesota 28-3 in an upset. Miami bounces Wichita 37-6 and improves to 6-2. One of the best records in the Eastern Conference. Wichita loses their 4th straight and are now 4-4. Booker with 2 picks. I just cannot believe it. Alaman with 2 forced fumble recoveries and then the block kick. Domfred Booker also with the touchdown. Washington beats New York 40-37 in an outstanding divisional matchup in the Metro Division, and those 2 teams will play again later in the season. Can't wait for that rematch. From all of us at the UFL, I'm UFL co-founder Cameron Irvine. Thanks for hanging with us here on Game Night through the technical difficulties. Eric Vincent and Chris Curtis have the call next with Los Angeles and Phoenix. And, of course, we'd hit the wrong button at the very end. $2 super chat from Decatur. No game is safe. Hell of a game by Washington. Thank you for your support. Wow. We'll see you in Phoenix for Game Night between the Skyhawks and the Aztecs coming up next right here on the Virtual Football Network. Whew.